Hello, and welcome to Purchase Broadcast Studios. I'm your host, Cecelia Cullen.
And I'm your host, Monica Perez-Valle. Thanks for joining us today.
On July 4th, President Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025. This bill makes significant changes to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, better known today as SNAP. On November 1st, the SNAP pause went into effect, leaving many with worry for where their next meal may come from. Since 2019, the mobile food pantry has been coming to Purchase to provide the local community with food free of cost. Many families, including students on this campus, are being left without this crucial resource. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Alyssa Samuels has the story.
On November 1st, the Trump administration put a pause on SNAP benefits, leaving many individuals without the resources to help feed themselves and their families. The program was created to help low-income families pay for groceries, but alongside the recent government shutdown, the federal government has stopped providing funds for SNAP. Once a month, in partnership with Feeding Westchester, the mobile food pantry visits the Purchase campus community and donates about 4,000 to 5,000 pounds of various proteins, dairy, grains, and produce.
This is our mobile food pantry, which is a partnership with Feeding Westchester. Food insecurity is a big problem in the country. I think there are a lot of people who are food insecure, either temporarily, just because they're between paychecks, or in a longer term, they might be unhoused, that kind of thing.
Kids are so appreciative. Even the people from the community are very appreciative. They don't have enough, and this just helps them out. And that has always been my thing. Through the pandemic, I said it's not right that people are going hungry in this country.
Here in New York State, almost 3 million people lost their benefits on the 1st. An estimated 73,000 of those people are residents of the Westchester County area. This mobile food pantry was the first food drive that has come to Purchase since that benefit cut.
It doesn't make me feel good that so many people are needy. It's in this country, nobody should go hungry. These programs have to be expanded to help them. We send money all over the world and spend money on new bathrooms and ballrooms, and what we need to do is help these people.
I mean, it's really tragic and it's scary because I know that there are people who are really struggling and really need the assistance that they don't have anymore. And really heartening to me is seeing farmers markets and other programs where they are saying, we will take your SNAP benefit, bring your SNAP number or whatever it is, and we'll give you either a discount or free food or that kind of thing. I think those types of things, it's like mutual care, that kind of thing. So I really like that.
The holidays approaching, these cuts have created another hurdle for many families to jump over. But as of November 12th, the government shutdown has ended, reinstating SNAP benefits for the remainder of November and December.
Like presents for their family members, they should not have to worry about food. They really shouldn't. Thanksgiving's coming up, and they're just not going to have access to food. It's really messed up. I think it's really important to have the food pantry, especially now, considering that.
Items left over from the food drive are relocated to the food pantry, located across from Starbucks. In the words of State Senator Pete Harcum, in the wealthiest nation on earth, no one should go hungry, and no elected leader should ever call that acceptable. For Purchase Broadcast Studios, I'm Alyssa Samuels. Back to you guys in studio.
Language is one of the most significant part of history and culture, as it's the means in which people communicate and ultimately get things done together. Language is part of identity, and trying to enforce one and only language to conform into one way of living is a subtle but detrimental war crime against humanity. The Wappinger dialect was spoken all throughout Westchester, but now there are no more native speakers left. I reported this story. Erasure of cultural traditions of those who came long before us has been an ongoing issue in our society. Being that American leaders throughout our history have played a part in colonization and the exploitation of indigenous people of this land, we often only get a romanticized perspective of the foundation in which this country was built on. The very ground we walk on and go about our daily lives in used to be a thriving community of people in touch with nature and its elements. There's something we can learn from native heritage and cultural traditions of people who thrived in community and environmental resourcefulness, instead of relying on a society that celebrates individualism and normalizes wastefulness. Traces of indigenous culture can be found all throughout Westchester County. The Siwanoy tribe of Purchase in particular were successful farmers who resided in villages along the Rye Brook and other coastal estuaries. They had a matrilineal society where clans were determined by the mother's side of the family. Their government was decided by the people of their community and consisted of a local chief and elders who were greatly respected in their clans. Professor Mara Horowitz put together the Native Voice Project at Purchase College, where signs are displayed with Wappinger Algonquian words and their English translations. The goal of this project is to spread awareness of the native heritage of Purchase while preserving their languages and culture. Knowing native languages opens the door for us to better understand the indigenous cultures of this land and better understand their side of history.
Language is what gets us together. It's so much more important than just basic communication. It gives us an identity, it gives us a history, it gives us a story. And when people are forced to give up their language, or they give it up because generally their culture is being forcibly erased, they lose not only their history, their stories, their identity, but they lose the ability to organize themselves in ways that they want to. And so the United Nations has now doubled down and created an international decade of Indigenous languages. We're a registered project with that organization, and you can find us on my website and also on the Purchase College website.
2022 to 2032 is declared as the International Decade of Indigenous Languages by the United Nations General Assembly. This recognition is aimed to promote and protect native languages and improve the lives of Indigenous people.
Outreach is always a good place to start. Indigenous people are not a monolith. Some people are living their lives and don't particularly want to talk to anyone about their heritage, which is fine, and others are very much involved in sharing it and raising awareness. And some of them are community leaders who are guiding their people into the future. And we've had a lot of speakers here, artists, scholars, Indigenous people who are working on those goals. So collaborating with them has been really enlightening and motivating for us professors too. And it's made some really good connections for us as a campus community to the wider community of Indigenous people.
Professor Myra Horowitz also included an interactive art project where students can decorate a wampum belt that represents Purchase College. In Indigenous culture, a wampum belt is made up of woven beads used as a historical record and a symbol of status.
The Native American Heritage Month event and Native Voices Project is held here at Purchase annually, teaching us about the 13,000-year human history of our campus land, the rich traditions of language and culture. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Gage Mathias has the story for us.
Here at SUNY Purchase, we have the annual Native American Heritage Month set up by Professor Horowitz, who we will now speak to about the event.
My name is Professor Horowitz of Global Studies Department, and we have every November, which is Native American Heritage Month, we have a tradition of doing an event which is both fair for introducing the campus to Indigenous culture and language. The Native Voice Project started in 2019, which was the United Nations International Year of Indigenous Languages. It was an initiative that they had built to try to raise awareness of our rapidly disappearing global Indigenous languages and how important they are. And the purpose of that project is to show the campus one of the Indigenous languages that was spoken here, and to raise awareness of why Indigenous languages are important. And that then, of course, after the pandemic, we decided to expand on that event, putting it up the first week of November. Our goal with this fair is not only to raise awareness of cultural heritage in the area, but also to make sure that everyone in our community is aware of land stewardship and responsibility that comes with being on this land. And we know the history of Purchase Campus. It was a slave plantation. Before that, it was an indigenous village. And we want to remember our history, teach our history, and make sure that as we develop here and we look to the future, we're considering responsible land stewardship. We're considering acknowledgement of the full history of this landscape, not only what's written in books, but what's written in other ways.
In partnership with the Environmental Studies program, this event showcases a variety of vegetables, seeds, and fruits that are native to the area.
We have several initiatives going on campus. They have their native plant garden. We have this display, which is meant to show all the different kinds of indigenous food, some of it wild, some of it domesticated, that can be found in our natural environment. When you walk through these woods, you may not see food because culturally we don't know what's edible, but it turns out there's an enormous amount of food if you lived here and were aware of what it was and how to gather it. So I brought some examples today for people to try. Cranberries, blueberries dried, different kinds of nuts. These nut trees grow wild here. You got hickory, walnut, pecans. There's also an indigenous type of quinoa called pit-seed goosefoot, wild rice, cranberries, crabapples, everything. And so there's also a lot of things like mushrooms, game animals. Over here I've got seafood and freshwater food. I've got examples. These are legs of a huge snapping turtle that were very good eating. Yeah, the front legs. This poor fellow was hit by a car and therefore became my collection. But it's basically an exhibition plus some of the names in the local language of some of these things. And also medicinal and sacred plants like sweetgrass and sage and cedar, so that people can get a sense of just how rich an environment this was.
Students of Caribbean Ancestry, or SOCA, is a club on campus dedicated to sharing and celebrating Caribbean culture with students. Since September, they have met every Sunday in the basement of the CMFT building in preparation for their fashion show, Trap Couture. Trap Couture kicks off their Trap Soca Week, where students can indulge in trap music, culture, and fashion. Trap Couture also gives students to model, style, photograph, and more for the first time. Purchase College Broadcast Studios correspondent Rama Diallo has more on the story.
Lights, camera, action. Rehearsals for Soca's fashion show, Trap Couture, have been underway since September and is a defining moment for the club, as this is their first fashion show since spring 2022. This time, Soca is highlighting the different variations that trap as a fashion can take. From traditional to avant-garde to alternative, Soca is dedicated to showing the students of Purchase the culture of trap. Rehearsals for the show begin with announcements. The models proceed to walk back and forth along the CMFT hallway, listening to critiques from model coach Tyler Casanova Rodriguez.
I'm not sure why we stopped having a fashion show. While I've been here my 4 years, I've never experienced it, I've never seen it. So, we saw that was a part of our history, and was really excited to bring it back and, see what it was all about. I think it's been kind of difficult, but I think it's only been, in the best way. It's challenges that we can handle, challenges we make sure we reassure each other on. If something kind of goes wrong, we make sure to tell each other, okay, we still got this, we could try this. Like, we're never just gonna give up, and I think that's the best part about it.
From the beginning of the semester, Soca has been scouting for people to join their team for the show. Not only were they looking for models, but for stylists, makeup artists, hairstylists, photographers, and more. Each and every student a part of the show is committed. Throughout the entire rehearsal, everyone is working and working hard. As the models are perfecting their walk, there are teams of stylists for the different collections adjusting and pinning outfits. The tech team works out logistics of spacing, music, and decor. Everyone working together to make sure the show is a success.
A lot of things that are happening is, getting back touch with Soca's roots and the things we do. So I think having Trap Soca return is kind of bringing it back to where Soca started. And also just giving more to student body, which I appreciate. I think there's so many different personalities going on, and I think everybody's just trying to put their best foot forward, and I think that breathes life into everything people do.
The show opened in the New Burger on November 16th with the packed crowd excited to see the different looks. The show was a success, and Soka, along with the rest of the fashion show staff, have made their mark on Trap Soka's legacy. Back to you guys in the studio.
Last week, Tuesday night, at the Multicultural Center, the club Latin Unidos held a balloon-popping unpopular opinions event, where students got to pop balloons and share their opinions on a variety of different topics. This is one of the many events led by one of the cultural clubs here at Purchase College for the month of November. Here's Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Trevaughn Mattis with more of the story.
Happy on Tuesday night at the Multicultural Center, one of the cultural clubs here at Purchase College, Latin Unidos, held a balloon poppin' unpopular opinions event where students got to pop balloons and share their opinions on a variety of different topics. Students were split up into two sides for the event, with side A presenting their argument on the topic, with side B presenting their counter-argument. Each side is given 45 seconds to a minute of time to prepare and present their argument. Each side has 3 rebuttal balloons, which they can pop one if they disagree or want to interrupt with a counterpoint. Despite the mess with the balloon popping, many students had fun nonetheless. Latin Unidos here at Purchase is a student-run organization that represents the Latinx identifying student body. Originally starting as Latinos Unidos, it currently goes by Latin Unidos, switching the masculine term for a more gender-neutral one. With the focus of empowering and amplifying Latin student voices and issues at Purchase College, the fundamental objective of Latin Unidos is to develop a sense of belonging, pride, and community amongst all Purchase students, especially those of Latin American and Caribbean diasporas.
I think definitely before my junior year, I was closed off and very isolated from everything. I didn't go out as much. I didn't talk to anyone outside of my roommate and my best friend, Mitchell, who was in Opia at the time. So I definitely think it gave me a family. I love everyone that is in the club. Everyone that used to be in the club that has graduated has also, they text me almost all the time, checking on me and the club and how everything's going. So it definitely gives you a sense of community, family, just people in your corner, and you don't feel so alone.
Latin Unidos aims to create a space where all Purchase students, not just Latin identifying students, can come together to have constructive dialogues and process issues, but also join in celebrating their culture and accomplishments.
I haven't been here long. I've been here for about maybe a month, but I really love the crew here, and they're so fun to be around. And I genuinely, every time I walk in a room with them, it's just the light of my world.
Having a sense of community is especially important now, considering everything happening with ICE and with the deportations here in the U.S. When I asked Rivera on how important it is to have Latinitos here at Purchase College, this is what she had to say.
Well, I definitely think that everything that's going on with ICE right now is very disheartening. So having people around you that understand that struggle and that are probably scared themselves with their families, I think this club gives them an open space to feel safe, at peace, and maybe have other people to talk to that do understand and can relate.
In terms of events happening this month, Latin Unidos is having Café con Leche with 2 events planned at the Sud. The first one being an art show on the 13th to the 14th, with its second event on the 21st, with the theme being Havana Nights, featuring performances from Purchase students. The doors for the event were open at 7:30 p.m., with the main event starting at 8. Latin Unidos meets every Tuesday at 10 p.m. in the Multicultural Center, and you can follow them on Instagram at LU_SUNY Purchase. You don't have to be Latin to join, as they encourage and welcome all members of the Purchase community to join. From Purchase Broadcast Studios, I'm Trevaughn Mattis. Back to you in the studio.
Students in Middletown, Connecticut are embracing an antique way of life, not necessarily in fashion, but in their living assignments. Old houses are having a rebirth at Wesleyan University and in its surrounding town, providing a vintage dormitory for residents while pushing for a greener campus and society. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Magdalena Ledkovsky has the story.
Across the charming streets of Middletown, Connecticut, a new chapter is being written in the town's history through the power of adapted reuse. Thanks to the collaboration between Wesleyan University and local developers, old homes and buildings that once stood as symbols of the past are now finding a new purpose. These thoughtful renovations are transforming aging structures into modern apartments, creating much needed housing for students, faculty, and local residents. One of the most notable examples of adaptive reuse is Middletown High School, or Old Middletown High School, erected in 1896, which has now been converted into a senior living, accessible apartment complex. This project not only preserves an important part of the town's history, but also provides a vibrant, welcoming home for the senior community. It's a win-win for Middletown, preserving the architectural character of the area while making room for new life in the heart of the city.
When did they change it?
I want to say like 10 years ago, not too long, 10 or 15 years ago. It's been changed for a while because they were just going to knock it down. But then they were like, well, it's kind of like a memorial building or it's like an older building.
Yeah, I think 1896.
Exactly. It's been here forever, so you can't really knock down memorial buildings like that. So they just kept it. And they're doing that to a lot of other buildings in Middletown, I would say. They're turning a lot of like older buildings into houses. Like this house that I live in, the one that you can't see on camera, but it's across the street, it's like from the 1800s, and they refurbished it, and it's still a pretty good house. I would say it's really nice.
Sustainability isn't just about maintaining green spaces. It's about giving new life to what already exists. These renovations go beyond aesthetics. They're designed with sustainability in mind. By repurposing existing structures, the town is reducing the environmental impact of new construction while preserving the unique character of the neighborhood. For Wesleyan students, the repurposed buildings offer more than just a place to live. They offer an opportunity to live in a community committed to both heritage and progress.
How old would you say this house is?
I think I heard my neighbors saying that it's 1881, so that would make it 250 years.
And you live in an apartment here? How many apartments are in the house?
There are 4. It was originally one big house. I think it was the dean's house, and then they split it up into 4 one-bedroom apartments.
And is your apartment, would you say it's an average student living apartment?
This one is the best of, basically anything that Wesleyan has to offer. I got crown molding, 12-foot ceiling, hardwood floors. There's one building that I'm kind of like, this one's just so much better than that one.
In Middletown, the push to preserve historic structures is doing more than protecting the city's character. It's helping the environment. Wesleyan University, along with local preservation groups, have been restoring several of its older campus buildings rather than replacing them. That choice dramatically reduces the environmental impact that comes with demolition and new construction. By reusing existing materials, these projects conserve what experts call embodied energy, the energy it took to produce and transport those materials decades ago, some dating back as far as the 1800s. Upgrades like improved insulation, modern heating systems, and energy-efficient windows are also turning these historic spaces into low-carbon buildings that can operate sustainably for years to come. And as both the university and the city invest in revitalizing these preserved structures, they're demonstrating how historic architecture can support modern sustainability goals.
My name is Magdalena Ledkovsky. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks for tuning in today at Purchase Broadcast Studios. We'll be right back after this short break.
Welcome back to Purchase Broadcast Studios. Thanks for staying with us. After voter registration campaigns across campus, Election Day on November 4th saw record turnout for the college polling site. Over 350 students and Broadview residents came out to make their voices heard in the very close local races. Purchase Broadcast News correspondent Marin Tyree has the story.
On Tuesday, November 4th, SUNY Purchase students and Broadview residents alike took to the polls in the Student Services Building Red Room. Voter turnout was more than double last year's, with 354 people turning in their ballots. Organizations like the New York Public Interest Research Group, or NYPIRG, have played a huge part in motivating people to vote. Since the start of the semester, NYPIRG alone has registered just over 600 students and Broadview residents. Matthew Paolucci, the project coordinator for the Purchase College Campus NYPIRG chapter, spoke about the importance of participating in local elections.
Right? So when we talk to students and we talk about the importance of local elections, it's tying all these little things that students know in their day-to-day lives, and it's making the argument that, yes, come out and vote for these local elections, make your voice heard. Obviously, NYPIRG is nonpartisan. We don't care which way you swing, but we want to make your voice heard as students in these local elections. So that way you're at the decision-making table when whoever wins is in power. You're at that table.
These elections are so local that Mark Scappaticci, a Republican candidate for mayor of Harrison, beat Democrat Mark Jaffe by just over 100 votes. Paolucci wants students to make their voices heard and take advantage of having a campus polling site.
This seems like something that was fought for a long time ago and won so students have the opportunity to vote here, because for students without cars, getting off of campus can be a real nightmare sometimes. So students should be taking advantage of this. If you live here at SUNY Purchase, if you're not going to travel or do an absentee or a mail-in, you should be voting right here on campus, making your voice heard.
In 1986, students fought and won in the New York State Court of Appeals to be able to use the college dress to register to vote. The polling site was moved off and back on campus several times in the decade following that ruling, but it has remained on campus since and offers students and now Broadview residents a convenient spot to make their voices heard. Many students expressed appreciation for having a polling site on campus, like Astrid, a senior who recently changed her registration to vote at school.
It's really helpful for so many students who live like hours away, like my boyfriend's from Long Island, and it would be extremely inconvenient to have to go home. It's just nice that there's an opportunity for students who don't have like the convenience like I do to just go home and vote, so that they can still practice their rights as citizens even when they're here.
Many of the races for positions like town clerk and trustee were decided by fewer than 100 votes, with other races only having one candidate running. The high voter turnout this year is an encouraging sign for organizers in the area, and the college will continue to be an important audience for local politicians. Marin Tyree, Purchase Broadcast Studios.
With the dawn of a new day comes a brand new chapter for citizens of New York City following the mayoral election, with pitted newcomer Zoran Mondani against former Governor Andrew Cuomo and head of Guardian Angels Curtis Siwa. Despite Purchase College being in a different county, many of its students are residents of the 5 boroughs that comprise New York City in its entirety. After a long election day, a victor was determined. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Jason J.J. Dobbins has the story for us.
City this evening. But as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared.
Every 4 years, the United States comes together to elect new leaders, but special attention was paid to New York City, as its youngest mayor was officially elected by the people last night. With a new mayor comes a lot of new questions and interest in what he is capable of.
By the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power.
How do you feel about New York City having a brand new mayor, so young and so social with his beliefs?
I really love it. It's kind of like hope corps in a way, if that makes sense, especially in these trying times when Trump literally couple days ago, he just took away food stamps. It's really, it just makes me feel good to like see this good news.
Obviously, I've been looking at some of what his policies are, what he's trying to do. I really fuck with them, so I have hope for him. I don't know how much he's gonna get done. I'm a little bit skeptical on what is possible, but I don't really know that much about politics. But I know that he's trying to increase the minimum wage. He's trying to build more affordable housing. He's trying to add protection to LGBTQ or people of the LGBTQ community, and that gives me a lot of hope for the city. Hopefully things will change, because so far things haven't been going that well, and that's what it means to me. New mayor. Let's go, Zora Mamdani. He got my vote.
With the citizens of NYC giving their hope to Mamdani, perhaps there's a change they've all waited for coming to them.
The mental health crisis and homelessness crises head on. Excellence will become the expectation across government, not the exception. In this new age we make for ourselves, we will refuse to allow those who traffic in division and hate to pit us against one another. In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light. Here, we believe in standing up for those we love. Whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community, one of the many black women that Donald Trump has...
Across the country, the conversation around arts education is shifting as schools work to balance rising costs with the needs of their creative programs. While the financial side often happens behind the scenes, the impact can shape the experience of students long before they step into a studio or classroom. At SUNY Purchase College, where artistic training is woven into campus life, the community is seeing these changes up close. We take you now to a closer look at how the campus is responding and what these adjustments mean for the students pursuing careers in the arts. I reported this story. Across the United States, funding for arts programs continues to decline, tightening budgets for schools, colleges, and cultural institutions. Federal grants have become more competitive, state allocations have shrunk, and many arts-based programs nationwide are being forced to scale back. Here at SUNY Purchase, the arts aren't just another department. They're the foundation of the school's identity. With nationally recognized conservatories in dance, theater, music, and visual arts, Purchase has built a reputation as one of the strongest public arts institutions in the country. What sets Purchase apart is its commitment to hands-on, process-driven learning. Students work directly in studios, rehearsal spaces, theaters, and labs, environments that rely on consistent access to materials, equipment, and mentorship. But maintaining that identity during a period of shrinking resources takes creativity, adaptation, and a strong commitment to the programs that define campus life. As funding becomes more uncertain across the nation, understanding how these pressures shape daily experiences in the arts is more important than ever.
I don't even give it 3 years before this becomes a mess. The budget has already been decreasing over the last maybe 6 months to a year because there's no funding coming from the government. I'm the instructional support of the painting and drawing department. So I am in charge of buying supplies, overlooking this classrooms. I have the privilege of teaching right now, which is great. I'm working with students that are non-visual arts students, non-VAs. But there's always been this underlying question with the students is, are they doing okay? Most of the answer is no, because it comes down to money. They do not have the supplies to buy they do not have the money to buy their supplies. If they do not have the supplies, they're not making work. If they're not making work, are they getting an education? The answer is no.
Across campus, students feel the impact of limited arts funding in ways that aren't always visible. Classes that depend on specialized tools or materials often require students to stretch their own budgets, and certain opportunities, like workshops or off-campus projects, become harder to access. These challenges add pressure to an already demanding workload, but it's not new for artists to navigate obstacles or make the most of limited resources. And as expenses rise, students have struggled and continue to struggle to keep up with the cost of developing their craft.
I guess the stuff about the NEA and taking away money is no surprise. I mean,
I feel like when there's like fascists in the government, they always go for the arts because, you know, arts, I don't know, they speak to, I think, how the society feels, and they often, you know, the arts are filled with people who, you know, fascists hate because they're themselves. Yeah, I don't know though. It's, I guess I don't think about it too much. Like, the underfunding of the arts is nothing new. That's just like, that's just the way it's been for a long time. And I guess I always feel like people will keep finding a way to make art. And so obviously, like, I want this place to be funded really well. But if that, you know, if that changes, people are still going to find a way to make art.
Even as arts funding becomes more uncertain nationwide, the Purchase community continues to adjust and push forward. Students and faculty find creative ways to work within tighter limits, from sharing materials to rethinking how projects can be built and presented. What stands out most is the determination students bring to their work. In studios, rehearsal rooms, and digital spaces, they continue to experiment, collaborate, and move their ideas forward, even when resources are stretched thin. As the future of arts education keeps shifting, one thing remains clear. Creativity doesn't fade when challenges appear, it adapts. And the resilience shown here is a reminder of how essential the arts are to the growth of both the campus and the broader creative world.
Earlier this month, audiences were treated to the Purchase Student Thespian Society's production of Dogfight, the musical. While the production was successful, some of the actors still felt a little conflicted about the show itself. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Lydia Harada has the exclusive story.
Dogfight, Benj Pasek and Justin Paul's musical adaptation of the 1991 film of the same name, remains beloved and frequently produced by amateur theater companies around the country. While the production at Purchase has been successful, there remained a lingering ick around the show's story.
The Marines are throwing this dogfight, which they find ugly, girls who are perceived as ugly, and they are betting on which one of them is the ugliest. And that's basically like the whole show.
They also try to assault a sex worker. That's another thing that happens in the play. Yeah, so they try to assault a sex worker because she's tired after sleeping with like all of them, and then the last one is like, it's my turn, and it's gross, and it sucks.
The show follows Eddie Birdlace, a Marine who meets and spends the night with Rose Fenny, a pacifist who leads him to at least reconsider his actions. Though the extent to which that actually works, opinions are mixed.
I mean, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking they're young. They're in their late teens, early 20s. People make stupid choices when they're that age. What they do is awful, like truly so cruel. But A, it was the 60s, different time. And B, they all died at the end. So they, like Eddie didn't, but his friends did, and he experienced this really crazy traumatic event, and that changes you. And I think the fact that he did try to redeem his actions gives him a little bit of credit.
I think that what the show tries to do, which is make him one of the good ones, like a sympathetic, like positive character, no, I don't think that that's possible within the time frame that the show gives.
Now, to this production's credit, Thomas Wem's direction and some optional changes laid out in the licensed script are able to sand off some of the show's rougher edges. However, it can only go so far.
It's really hard when you have the Marines literally saying the lines that are written like, oh my god, these dogs, bro. Or the game ain't over till the fat lady barks. Like, it's just gross. And it's like, we're doing the best we can, but at the end of the day, these are gross characters.
I'm very hesitant to be like any piece of art has like no merit. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something that I tend to be like the judge of, but there is a significant part of me that's like, why this one, you know, like what did this really speak to? Because I think that it is so close to saying a lot of interesting things, but it never does, and it never really escapes the need to justify everything that these guys do. So yeah, mixed. I guess the short answer is mixed.
Dogfight ran at the CMFT from November 6th to November 9th. This has been Lydia Harada with Purchase Broadcast Studios.
College sports are one of the most popular things watched on television. The average college football game in 2025 has 1.95 million viewers. However, it's hard to get people to care about college athletics when the college is Division III. SUNY Purchase is an art school. They aren't known for their sports, they're known for their arts. However, the Panther Madness event took place to help change things. Panther Madness was an event that took place to help get more students to attend Purchase's sports games. Purchase Broadcast Studios correspondent Robert Grella went to Panther Madness to see how this event might help make change and bring more students into the crowd for future Purchase sports games.
Here is the ending of the 2025 Panther Madness Students versus Faculty basketball matchup. The students were leading going into the end of the game, but faculty managed to take the win right at the end with about 0.5 seconds. Panther Madness was an event that took place to help raise spirit for the school athletes. The event took place with hopes of raising more morale for the school's various sports teams. It did this in many different ways throughout the Panther Madness event. There was a DJ playing music, free food, free school merchandise. They crowned the 2025 Purchase Royals. There were raffles, and also fun games and challenges, such as the 3-point contest, head, shoulders, knees, and cup, the dunk contest, a relay race, the sneaker challenge, and finally they culminated with the students versus faculty basketball game. And I was able to interview some of the people playing this game.
Former athlete and an alumni of Purchase, it was actually one of the best things that I liked about when I was a student athlete. So when I started my job in student life as an associate director, I wanted to bring it back. So this is actually our second year bringing it back, and it means a lot to me. Obviously, I'm excited. I'm sweaty right now. I played. I'm all about all the games and getting the students and celebrating our athletes. I feel amazing. We won 2 years in a row, so I'm excited about that. I'm reigning champion, but it's a fun time for us to just kind of have fun, laugh, and joke. As you see, they take it serious, we take it serious. I heard they were practicing last night, so they should start practicing now for next year. I hope that students find it fun and want to come out and participate and just come out and start and get involved in student life activities. I'm hoping also that other students aside from athletes can come over and celebrate our student athletes and support them, as well as the athletes go and support our other students on the other side of campus.
And is there anything you'd like to see in Panther Madness next year?
No, just more student participation, more students that want to do the obstacle course maybe, more students that want to do head, shoulders, knees, cup. But yeah, otherwise I think this year was a better turnout than last year, and so I'm hoping next year will be even bigger.
I enjoyed it a lot. First time doing it, I did see it come out last year. I didn't participate. Definitely was a whole different point of view when you're actually playing it for sure. Definitely don't regret it, especially being part of the school is how you get to be involved in the school for sure. I play for the soccer team, so doing something for the school and having people know who you are is definitely something to be a part of for sure.
When asked about how this would affect students' morale towards athletics, Nicholas responded with this.
100%, not just for Panther Madness, but definitely for like soccer games, basketball games. It brings everybody together just to meet up, hang out, chill, talk about, and root for your school, 100%.
Overall, the event was a blast and was very enjoyable. There's hope that Purchase Madness will help raise morale among the athletic department and have more students pulling up to support all Purchase sports teams. Robert Grella, Purchase Broadcast Studios, back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks for joining us here today at Purchase Broadcast Studios. I've been your host, Cecelia Cullen.
And I've been your host, Monica Perez-Valle. Join us again next time here at Purchase Broadcast Studios.